What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Rudy's Rant, Her Game, Her Way Women's Basketball. We talk facts over feelings. I'm your host, Rudy Rodriguez Show. My love that y'all jumped on board with us last night for Sunday Night Heat. Here is my commentary on the game yesterday. Before we get there, do like the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, leave a comment, let me know your thoughts. Yesterday was fun. Yesterday was a lot of fun to watch. And it happened all so very quickly. You have a game yesterday where it was kind of a continuation of the second half of the game versus the Atlanta Dream, where the Indiana Fever just threw caution to the wind and just played basketball. They let it flow, they let it roll, they let it fly. And it was Caitlin Clark, take the ball, and Caitlin Clark, go do your thing. And that's what we got yesterday. We got a game in which Caitlin Clark was allowed to play her game. And obviously she didn't shoot the ball exceptionally well. She didn't shoot the ball well on Friday either. But what we finally saw was a free flowing form of ball. We saw a game free of mistakes where it wasn't like overly pressing to squeeze the ball through small windows. It was Caitlin Clark playing Caitlin Clark style of ball, pushing tempo, pushing pace. And that's what made it so easy for the Indiana Fever in the second half against Atlanta and especially in the first half against the Dallas Wings yesterday. You're talking about the fact that Caitlin Clark had 14 points, 13 assists, 5 steals. She accounted for 41 points of the 102 points that the Indiana Fever scored yesterday. That is about 40% of their offense. That's what she accounted for. So before people lose their minds and say, oh, well, she only had 14 points, she only took 12 shots. She only took 12 shots. I mean, could she have had, hit a couple other buckets that she missed that were probably easy buckets? Yeah, she could have. But end of the day, they got a big win. They were up by what, like 30 points in that game in the third quarter. Didn't really like the way the game ended. I didn't like the fact that they got pulled so quickly, but consider the fact that Caitlin Clark did all of this in 25 minutes of basketball. 14 points, 13 assists, 5 steals, 3 rebounds, even a block shot. But the biggest thing for me yesterday was two 13 assists and only 2 turnovers. 13 assists and 2 turnovers. 13 assists and 2 turnovers. Like that is what makes the Indiana Fever work. That's what makes her work. She was just playing the game. I can remember the turnovers. That's how few there were. You can remember them specifically. Whereas you're not trying to say, oh, did this person drop a pass? Did that person drop a pass? Did this person drop a pass? She hit touchdown passes over and over again throughout the game. It looked like you had Patrick Mahomes back there commanding the offense, where she's hitting these passes down the court and she's just laying them right there. She had a couple to Kelsey Mitchell. She had at least one to Sophie Cunningham that was as good a pass as you've seen, where it got right over the outstretched hands. I believe of Nas Hillman, and I think that was who it was. Maybe I'm not sure. And then it lands right in Sophie Cunningham's hands. She gets a layup. But man, that was an impressive job by the team yesterday. You ask yourself, was this anything that Stephanie White decided or what, or if this was Caitlin Clark just saying, I'm playing ball, and that's I don't even know if it matters. What you hope though, what you hope that you continue to see is you hope to continue to see the free flowing style of ball. Because what happens when you play that type of basketball is that the team should always be playing with tempo. And the reason I've always been saying the tempo, like paint touches, paint touches, is because when they play with nonstop tempo, one, they're going to wear their opponents out. And when you wear your opponents out, what's going to happen is they're going to start making mistakes because that's not the style in which they want to play. There's not a team in the league. There's not a team in the league. And I've said this before. There's not a team in the league that if the Indiana Fever play their A game with tempo, There's not a team in the league that can beat them. Period. Like they will never lose a game playing their A game with tempo. They just won't because it's something that nobody else in the WNBA can replicate. Like there are teams that might have the ability to run here and now, here and then, now and again, but no one has the passer that Caitlin Clark is. Because of that passing skill, they got so many easy buckets. And I'm going to do another video just specifically to show you the easy buckets that they were getting off Caitlin Clark's passes. This wasn't like, she's passing the ball out and everyone's hitting a bunch of threes, man. No, of her 13 assists, and I have a video of it, of her 13 assists. Of those 13 assists, only one shot came from outside the paint. One shot. And I believe of the 13 assists, 9 of them were layups. Like handed to them layups. That is what a point guard does. This is the player that Carolyn Peck said they were better without, based on probably information she got from Stephanie White. We probably can guess that one. But this is the player that Carolyn Peck said that they are better without. Now, does she still have some issues with her leg? Yes, I'm still convinced of it. Does she is she still having issues with her shot? Yes, I'm still convinced with it. I'm convinced of it. I do think there's something mental right now with her shot. She's pressing it too much. She hits the opening three yesterday, and then on the next possession, pretty much she comes and jacks another one from like 30 feet out. I'm not a fan of that shot. I don't like that shot right there. You hit one, you don't have to jack another 30-footer to do a heat check on the first and the second possession of the game. Let the offense flow, let the offense come to you. Um, she wasn't perfect by any means. She missed a couple of bunnies as well as she doesn't typically miss. There was a situation in which she kind of tweaked her leg, and you're hoping that when she wakes up today, she's gonna feel all right. I don't know yet, because you know how those things can come overnight. The adrenaline drops off and the whole nine. You go to sleep, like, oh shoot, I'm sore as heck. It doesn't feel right. This game was largely talked about as the Caitlin Clark Paige Beckers matchup. Paige Beckers finishes with 21 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals. She had 4 turnovers. I know no one's going to mention that, but I think 2 of them Caitlin Clark took right from her. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. But Caitlin Clark only had 2 turnovers. She only had the 2 turnovers, and that's now over the course of 2 games, 22 assists and 4 turnovers. That's winning basketball. That is the player that when you let her play her game. Look, she's not perfect, but when you let her play her game, what you're gonna get is a free flowing art form of ball. Natasha Howard running the floor, going 8 for 9. Aaliyah Boston 7 for 11. Kelsey Mitchell 8 for 12. You got Sophie Cunningham coming off of the bench, going 5 for 6. She's got 13 points. I'm gonna do some stuff on her as well because that is the player that realistically, when I said last week that Lexi Hull has to shoot the rock for them to win games. If she's not going to do it, and Sophie Cunningham is going to do it, then Sophie Cunningham is taking her job, type of stuff. And that's what wasn't accounted for in the video was that while Lexi Hull has not been shooting the ball, Sophie Cunningham has not been playing well either. So you've got 2 of them that have both been rather pedestrian. And if neither is a threat, then there's going to be issues for the Indiana Fever. Well, in this case, the last 2 games, Sophie Cunningham has played her best 2 games in an Indiana uniform, back to back. And the score tells the story 99-82 and 102-83. Like these are types of performances that the Indiana Fever can put on when Caitlin Clark is allowed to just play free ball. I mean, looking like she's at Iowa. Real talk, looking like she's at Iowa, and that's huge because if she can play like she played at Iowa, then who knows what can happen with this squad. I mean, this can be a turnaround. I'm afraid to jump the gun and say, oh, they're going to be fine now, because you know how it goes. You never know what you're going to get if they've been consistently inconsistent all season long. You have a coach that seemingly toys with stuff, tinkers with stuff, and does shit that just screws things up. Um, and sits Caitlin Clark at ridiculous time periods when she's flowing. It makes no sense. At one point, I think Caitlin Clark sat down, she threw her hair back, she's like, oh, type of thing, because she's like, well, you're taking me out of the game constantly. This is not a situation of constantly taking somebody out of the game. You're taking them out of a flow. You got to let them flow. Let her cook. Is what they say. Let her cook. And cooking isn't necessarily just shooting jumpers and making shots. It's facilitating, making everyone around you better, and putting them in positions to be successful. And that's what she did yesterday. She did that on Friday in the second half, and she did that again yesterday. It was an impressive performance. And don't get it twisted. The 14 and 13 probably should have been like 18 and 16 because of some missed shots. And it's going to happen. And we have to accept that at this point. But and this is even in a situation where Damaris Dantas goes 1 for 8. I don't remember how many came off of Caitlin passes, but she goes 1 for 8. She was the only one that really had a really rough game yesterday. Everyone else played fairly, really pretty well. Um, but all that said, this is the type of performance that Indiana can put on any given day if you just let Caitlin Clark play. You just let her play. They shot 52% from the field. They got they went to the line more than Dallas. Look, we did see. I mean, I saw yesterday the most glaring fouling on the perimeter on Caitlin Clark that I've seen, and I know other people have talked about it a lot. It's kind of concerning when you hear stuff like Paige Becker say that they've allowed that she's had to learn to foul type of stuff defensively, and because of what they allow people to get away with in the WNBA, and that's not basketball. And I will be doing something on that as well, because that's just crazy to me that you have a college player comes out and says, "Well, we were taught to not foul, and this is turning into where we're basically you're taught to foul now, foul away, foul, foul, foul." And are they going to call everyone? I mean, on one possession, Caitlin Clark got fouled 3 times, grabbed, and grabbed, and it's like it's right in front of the referee, and even Rebecca Lobo calls it out. She's like, "That's a foul. That's a foul. That's a foul." This isn't about physical. This is about call the damn foul, because that's what you need to call the damn foul. But overall, a fantastic performance by the Indiana Fever from in the first half, especially. They were just absolutely cooking. Second half was a fall off. Um, Naturally, not you don't expect them to go score 130 points. I thought that Stephanie White sat the starters a little bit too early. I would have liked to have seen them play a little bit more. Natasha Howard was free flowing, running up and down the floor. She was doing what if she does that, she can be absolutely tremendously effective. Um, Overall, though, it was a hell of a performance. Caitlin Clark defensively playing the passing lanes. She had one play where she blocks a shot and then immediately gets that touchdown pass to Sophie Cunningham. An incredible play. But that was a fabulous performance by the Indiana Fever. Let me know y'all thoughts in the comments. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, leave a comment, and of course, tomorrow night I will be on with the instant recap for the post game. The last 2 games I've been unable to do due to conflicting situations. I had to cover the BKFC on Friday, and even yesterday I knew we were doing Sunday Night Heat, so I wasn't gonna do an instant recap on a game that I'm gonna be talking about again in 3 hours. Like I just figured let's just do a Sunday Night Heat and call it a day. But appreciate y'all once again. Thank y'all again for jumping on board on Sunday Night Heat, and please continue to support the channel, subscribe, like, and comment. Appreciate y'all so very much. Once again, this is Rudy's Rant, her game, her women's basketball. Come on now.